Okay. Show me.
Hi there guys, welcome back to the Dutch channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I got me a box from Diatone, and well, it's a typical Diatone box, right? Understated white box, and it doesn't even say Diatone. Well, it says Diatone on the side. Yeah, okay, so that's always good news. Well, yeah, in most cases it's good news. Diatone makes very nice quadcopters. So this is the GTR249T HD, small print over there. So that's quite a mouthful, and it's a small quadcopter. Yeah, but with an HD recorder in it. So in this video we're gonna do a very fast unboxing. Actually, I'm gonna try to set a world record for the fastest unboxing. Yeah, so we'll see what's in this box. I'll show you what you get for your money. Then we'll take a close look at the quadcopter itself to see, if it holds up, what the specs are and such. By the way, there are specs over here. But the specs are also in the description of this video. There are also two links to this quadcopter in the video description. One to Diatone's webshop itself, where I got the quadcopter from, and one to Banggood. If you want to support my channel, you could use that Banggood link and I'll get a cut of the sales. That'll definitely not make me rich. I'll use all of that money to buy future RCs to review. Just so you know. But again, if you want to support the channel. And we'll also do a line of sight test flight with this quadcopter. See, I want to know if this quadcopter is quiet enough. I want to be flying this quadcopter in forests where there might be people, and I don't want to upset people, right? Actually, I don't even want them to notice the quadcopter much, so I want it to be quiet. We'll see if that's the case. Okay, unboxing. Let us see what's in this white Diatone box here. There! That's the unboxing. Ta-da! Okay, well, thank you very much for your attention. That was the unboxing. More on the quadcopter in the future. Well, maybe not. Let's see what we actually have here. So we obviously have the quadcopter, the GTR249T. And it's a different shape, right? It's a dead cat configuration, which makes sense for a video quadcopter. The props won't be in view in this configuration. More on the quadcopter in a second. You get decals, and nice metallic decals. You always get these with Diatone quadcopters. Very, very nice. You get yourself some documentation. So this will be about the stack only. Yeah, and that's basically the only thing you really need to know. So the Mamba F405 Mini MK2. So that's the stack, flight controller and ESC board. Very, very nice. Obviously the specs can also be found on the Diatone site. You get this, and this bag contains two receiver leads. The quadcopter itself does not come with a receiver, but you get two wires. One directly connects to an RXSR receiver, so an FrSky RXSR receiver. The other one doesn't have a connector, and so it's a blank that you solder up to your receiver. We get a service package. Let's see what's in this package. One thing I'm, by the way, missing is a manual for the video recorder thingy. What you do get is this controller board, this joystick thing to change settings on the Caddx Turtle. Yeah, the Caddx Turtle version 2, which is what the quadcopter comes with. That's the HD recorder. So it's nice that you get this joystick. I had a few of these, but you might not, so it's nice to get that. You get an assortment, basically all screws in duplicate for the quadcopter, minus the ones that hold down the motors. So all frame screws come with a spare, and that's basically true for all Diatone quadcopters. So very, very nice. You get a secondary strap, The quadcopter already has a strap, as you can see, so a spare one, and this one might be a little longer. Let's check that actually. Yeah, okay, so this secondary strap is a little longer. Maybe if you want to run the quadcopter on 4S. The quadcopter is 4S capable, but Diatone tells me that it will fly best on 3S. And the stock tune, so when you receive the quadcopter, it's tuned for 3S. Approximately 550 milliamp hour 3S. Okay, so a longer strap for 4S. You get a bunch of zip ties, and I'll be using at least 2 to strap down my antenna. You get an XT30 connector for your Lipo, in case your Lipo doesn't have an XT30 connector. And you get a buzzer. The quadcopter doesn't come with a buzzer installed, but you can install it if you'd want to. Stock, the quadcopter is configured to use its motors as buzzers. And yeah, that'll do for me. I won't be using the buzzer. But it's nice that they include it, of course. You get more screws. What are these? Oh, these are for the propellers. Yeah. The propellers are screw-down propellers, T-type propellers, so these are the screws that you'll use to screw those down. You get, what is this? What is this? This kind of looks like a wire to hook up the buzzer. Yeah, probably. Okay, so I won't be using that. It's a bit weird. Actually, I'm not sure. You will see that in a minute, but the quadcopter already has such a connector in it. So this is yeah, basically a spare. Okay. You get anti-slip mats for the battery, and you get a spare wire harness. And Diatone always does this. This is a wire harness from the 4-in-1 ESC to your flight controller, and there's obviously already one in the quadcopter, but this is a spare. So yeah, you always get a spare of those in Diatone quadcopters, which is nice. And lastly, you get propellers, and you'll see those better when they are on the quadcopter in a minute. These are Avan propellers, if I'm not mistaken, so from Emax, which is a bit weird, by the way. But okay, so the quadcopter has a frame which accommodates 2.5-inch propellers. That's the biggest kind of propeller this frame can accommodate. These propellers, however, are smaller. These are 2.3 millimeter in length. So I'm not completely sure why they did that. Maybe to have the flight time be longer, right? The amp draw will be lower with these propellers. And I'll tell you in a minute what kind of quadcopter I think this is. Whether it's an all-out freestyle, racer, cinematic quadcopter. Yeah, I think the propeller choice indicates what kind of quadcopter this should be. However, like I said before, you can run this quadcopter on 2.5mm propellers as well. Alrighty, the star of the show, the Diatone GTR249T HD. Now, if you are wondering, those product names or numbers from Diatone, GTR is their line of quadcopters, and the R in that indicates that they think this is a racer. And yeah, I think it could be a video racer. I will probably mostly use it for cinematic flights. But again, the GTR line of quadcopters from Diatone are meant to be racers. It is a bottom slung battery design, right? So yeah, racer. And that's 249. The 2 is, or 3 in other GTRs, is the propeller size. It's not a 2-inch quadcopter, but okay, 2.5, right? 2. And then that 4 indicates that it is 4S capable, this quadcopter, which it is. But again, Diatone tells me that the optimal battery for this quadcopter, or at least what they tuned it for, is a 3S battery. I'll be flying the quadcopter on 2 types of batteries. These graphene 500s, and yeah, Hobby King cheats a little on their lipos. This is probably more a 550 milliamp hour or maybe even a 600 milliamp hour Lipo. And I'll be using these 450 milliamp hour 3S batteries from G&B. This one is probably a bit on the small side. Maybe a 550 version of these G&Bs would be optimal for the quadcopter. Now, I could tell you all the specifications of this quadcopter obviously, but I'd be wasting your time since they are already in the description of this video. They are also on all the product pages. You've probably seen the specifications of this quadcopter 100 times already, especially if you're interested. The main attractions of this quadcopter are first the looks. That's the first thing you see. This electroplated purple canopy. The shape is the same as in the other GTRs, but they now have two electroplated canopies. One is grayish, I think. I've never had that one. And well, obviously this one is purple, and it's definitely an eye-catching color. This looks, yeah, it looks very nice. I expect the canopy to be just as strong or weak, if you will. Obviously you can damage this quadcopter's canopy, it's plastic, but I don't think it's more brittle or anything than the normal GTR canopies. The quadcopter is also, being a 2.5 inch quadcopter, pretty light. We'll measure its weight in a second with battery and a receiver. But yeah, impacts won't be super duper high with a light quadcopter, of course. I'll personally again be flying it mostly in wood, so maybe I'll hit a tree, but most times if I crash, I'll crash on grass or dirt. Okay, so the second selling point of this quadcopter is that it has an HD recorder, right? A Caddx Turtle version 2, and I've never had the version 1. And this is, yeah, one of the split systems with a one camera setup, right? You see one lens over here. And that'll mean that it will probably record pretty nice videos, and that the FPV experience isn't as good as a dedicated FPV camera. That's basically what it comes down to, right? And yes, we now have dual camera setups, like the Caddx Target or the Runcam Hybrid. Those are also bigger and slightly heavier though. So I guess it's a trade-off. They wanted to have this quadcopter be light. So yeah, could you upgrade to a Target? I'm not sure if this canopy would accommodate a Target. Probably not. Yeah, you know what? If this setup isn't good enough for you, you probably should be looking for another quadcopter. That's basically what it comes down to. This quadcopter is intended to be light, and it'll also be quiet just because it's light and small. I hope that makes sense. The more air pressure you have on the blade, so weight, the more sound the propellers will generate. That's not the only thing that generates sound, obviously, but okay. So yeah, we'll just see. Like I said, I have never had a Turtle version 1 or this version 2, so we'll see how that works out. Again, my expectations are that the HD recording, so the 1080p 60 frames a second recording, are pretty okay, and that the FPV experience is a little less optimal than a dedicated FPV camera. And let me see, yeah, the last selling point for me at least is that it comes with a TBS VTX. A lot of Diatone quadcopters come with Team Black Shape VTXs, and that'll probably work out very, very nicely. Yeah, and Diatone actually adds a board to that. You can see part of that. You can see this large capacitor, well, large. Compared to the rest of the VTX, this capacitor is pretty big. So I'm expecting the video signal to be pretty clean, but we'll see. Yeah, so over here you have the connector for your receiver, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that well enough, but it even has a label on it which tells you what wire is what. So yeah, there's no guesswork there. Very, very nice. Obviously the quadcopter has an XT30 to power it. And did I mention it's a dead cat design? I think I did. So yeah, it's a dead cat design to make sure that the propellers won't be in view. This quadcopter is meant to shoot nice videos, a cinematic quadcopter maybe. Other than that, it has an F405 Mamba stack, an MK2, there's a version 2 of that stack. And yes, I have a lot of quadcopters, self-built and bought quadcopters with Mamba/Diatone stacks. I have good hopes for that. I don't foresee any problems with that at all. One thing I am a bit worried about is the placement of the receiver. Yeah, there's probably space behind the camera for a receiver. Otherwise, you can strap that receiver to the back of the quadcopter. A lot of people do that. That might, yeah, will be pretty well protected over there. But again, there seems to be a little bit of room behind the FPV camera as well. So wait, what does this quadcopter actually weigh? We want to know, Dutch RC, what does it weigh? Let's have a looky. Scale on. The quadcopter itself with propellers comes in at 95 grams. Okay, let's add a receiver. This is the receiver I'll use. It's an FSky XM Plus. 96 grams, and I'll throw in the heaviest Lipo I will be using on this quadcopter, which is at 500 mAh 3S Lipo. Let's see what that... Okay, almost 150 grams, 149 grams, and that's pretty light, definitely far below 250 grams, obviously, so that's nice, that is very, very light. So next thing we'll do is I'll hook up that receiver and we'll go out and fly this quadcopter, and during the flight I'll tell you what I think this quadcopter is, what kind of quadcopter this is, so we'll combine the two. Here we go. Alright guys, maiden flight for the Diatone GTR249T HD. I'll be flying it with this radio, the FSky X-Lite Pro. And I'm here at a random parking spot. Yeah, okay, so it's a small quadcopter, right? So it'll be hard for you to actually see in the video, but I'll try to keep it in close. Partially because, well, we simply want to see if it actually flies, which it does, and I want to know if it's reasonably quiet. Now it is very quiet. I'm not sure. Yeah, the microphone on my camera actually picks up sound a bit better than my ears. There's nothing wrong with my ears, but the sensitivity of the microphone is pretty good, so you'll be able to hear the quadcopter, I assume, better than I can. And by now you won't be able to hear. Oh, so this is excellent news. Yeah, I can hear the quadcopter a little. And yeah, this is again a typical quadcopter that's hard to keep track of line of sight. That's not a bother at all. This is not a quadcopter I ordered to be flying line of sight. You can, of course, you can see that it's possible. Yeah, but there's hardly any distinguishing feature at the front or the rear to see what the orientation of the quadcopter actually is. But it flies. And again, it's pretty quiet. I can definitely fly this quadcopter in forests where there might be some people. Now I won't be flying it in crowded areas, of course, it doesn't have prop guards. What I'm also noticing is that it is very easy to maintain altitude. You might have noticed that as well. So I guess the ESCs work well. The entire setup, so far at least. Even though it's just a measly 3S quadcopter on puny little propellers.
2 minutes.
Huh. Yeah, so I bought this quadcopter to be a cinematic racer. And what the hell is that? Well, that's a quadcopter that can shoot nice, reasonably smooth videos while being reasonably fast, zippy. And what I didn't buy this quadcopter for, and I don't think it's intended or designed to be, is an freestyle acro quadcopter. Now, I assume you can do split S's and power loops with it, but if you were looking for a quadcopter to do freestyle flying while shooting video, you'd be far better off with a 3-inch with a proper high power setup. You'd be far happier. Because the step up from 2.5 to 3-inch quadcopters is quite a big step up in performance, bigger than you will expect. For instance, the Diatone TMC Airblade, I'll put a link up right in the top right corner to my video on that quadcopter. That is a, well, monstrously not, but that is definitely a freestyle capable video quadcopter. And again, that's a 3-inch and it has a Target stock. Mine now has a Runcam hybrid in it. Yeah, that's something you'd want if you want to do proper freestyling with heaps of power. This again is, I think, designed, built to be a video quadcopter, unintrusive, and yeah, cruiser. Not an indoors quadcopter, obviously, because it doesn't have prop guards. Well, maybe if you are a very good pilot. In fact, I might go and fly this quadcopter indoors. But so far, yeah, I haven't been paying much attention to the actual flying because I was narrating this flight, of course, but so far it is very docile and easy to maintain altitude, which is what you want in a video quadcopter, right? And it's pretty quiet. Let me see, yeah, I don't have a memory card in it yet. I'll have a link to my RAW channel in the description of this video, and on that RAW channel I will post unedited footage with this quadcopter. I'll also do a roundup, an actual review on this on my bigger channel of the quadcopter in a while, once once I know how it performs. But again, if you want to see my unedited captures with this quadcopter, the HD captures and the DVR captures, I'll be posting those on my RAW channel. And my battery is done. That was the battery. So yeah, this wasn't a pedal to the metal flight, obviously, as you could see. And I was flying it on that Turnigy 500 milliamp hour 3S Lipo. I must say I wasn't super duper impressed by the flight time. Mostly because I wasn't flying it hard. So maybe I'll try other Lipos. Yeah, probably GMBs in the 550 or 650 range. But again, the quadcopter itself, I was pretty impressed with. It flies very, very smoothly. Yeah, nice. So that was my, maiden flight to see how it flies. And I'll again post up flight videos on my RAW channel, and I'll do a roundup, a review in a while. Catch you on the next video. Bye bye.